Uh, Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see you here at my presentation. And today, in my presentation, I'm going to speak about carbon footprint of ICT usage. ICT is information and communication technology. To investigate this topic, today I will start with introduction, where I provide you with definition of ICT. Then I will demonstrate a couple of examples of ICT solutions. This is mobile communication, video conferencing, and government. And then I will demonstrate you ICT's own carbon footprint. And after short conclusion, we will move to Q&A section. Okay, let me start. Before we start to investigate today's topic, let me provide you with definition of information and communication technology. In general, the term information and communication technology refers to electronic computing equipment and related software to store, protect, and retrieve information. So we can divide information and communication technology into three levels, such as technology, equipment, and services. You know, the main question of my topic is, does ICT lead to reduced carbon footprint? Actually, I am one of those who take part in development of ICT, and you know, like many people before, I thought that ICT is huge consumer of energy. And so I felt a little bit guilty for ICT impacts in environment. So this topic is very interesting for me, and I did some investigation on this topic, and this topic is very controversial, and there are two sides. One people who say that ICT is a huge consumer of energy, and consume energy like airline industry, or Google search consume energy like boiling the kettle, you know. But another people, like me for now, say that ICT lead to reduced carbon footprint and actually help to reduce carbon emission. So today, my question to this, my answer to this question is yes. ICT helps reduce carbon emission considerably. And how ICT does it? Through its application, of course, such as mobile communication, video conferencing, and electronic government. You know, it's only part of example, because there are a lot of application of ICT. And timing of my today presentation doesn't allow me to demonstrate you all solutions. So I chose only 3 examples for you. Okay, let's start with mobile communication. Mobile communication appears to be key for ICT sustainable. First of all, mobile communication is a low impact industry when it comes to energy consume and carbon consumption and carbon emission. And the second, mobile communication tends to change our behavior to sustainable and enable positive lifestyle our lifestyle. And here, two examples how mobile communication does it. For example, you can work with utility companies to enable remote switching of heat or power in our home. And the second example, you can partnering with transport providers to integrate mobile ticketing with GPS, for example, to get the best travel options or get a discount for given location. So it's only two examples. Okay, let's move first. Next slide. Coming back to mobile communication energy efficiency. I would like to introduce you this chart. This chart provided by Australian Computer Society and shows us carbon emission of ICT devices by category. And in this chart we can see that mobile devices carbon footprint is pretty small, just 1% to compare with other devices, equipment of ICT. So it's impressed, isn't it? Another study provided by Ericsson company shows us that average carbon emission per 1 year for last type of mobile phones is just 25 kilograms. It's comparable with 1 hour of driving average car in motorway. It's a good result, only 25 kilos. I would say that the first generation of mobile phones at 80s released about 150 kilograms. It's very huge emission, really. And we see in this graph the trend go to decrease for next generation of mobile phones. It's good. Okay. So, speaking about mobile communication, I would say that being carbon enabler and boosting at the same time booster of economic development and life quality improvement, mobile communication tends to be a good potential to sustainable of ICT. Let's move to next example of ICT solution. It's video conference. As you can guess, or probably you know, video conferencing is a meeting between people without physical presence. You can sit at your office and have a meeting with other team, which can be physically situated in other country, other cities. So, video conferencing, or in other words, electronic meetings, tends to lessen the needs of traveling, especially traveling from a remote area to city. So at the same time, video conferencing considerably reduce energy consumption and at the same time reduce negative potential effect of transport such as pollution. It's really good. Let's see, for example, this example provided by International Telecommunication Union and Climate Change Organization. This organization calculate two real use cases of using video conferencing. And first use case is on the left side of this chart is about using video conferencing, which held between Tokyo and Yokohama, right, Suzuka? Yokohama. This video conference or this meeting held once a week or 48 times per year for 1 hour each time, and in this meeting participate only 2 people. Let's see at the chart. In this chart you see by red color you see energy consumption by use of equipment which participate in this meeting, and by blue is production of equipment which using in this meeting, which used in this meeting. So, in case we use meeting with traveling, when physically one people go to another physical place by, for example, airplane or bus or car, we see that energy consumption of use of equipment, in this case it's transport, is very huge. It's very huge. When we use video conferencing for such condition, we see that energy consumption of used equipment is reduced up to 91% for use and for total 53%. But at the same time we see that energy consumption by production of equipment is a little bit increased. But it's illogical because in this case we use computer, modems and another ICT equipment. But overall we see that energy consumption is reduced up to 53%. It's a good result. The second case shows us almost the same case, but using more intensive meetings. Here we have every working day meetings, that is 240 times per year, and hours each time. It's very huge, long meeting. It's not, I think in real life we don't have such long meeting, but by the way, let's see what we will get in this case. The same, we have a huge rate of consumption, energy consumption by use, if we use transport. But when we use video conferencing, in this case, we use energy consumption by use of video conferencing up to 59%, and for overall energy energy consumption up to 52%. It's really good. Let's move to next example. It's electronic government. Electronic government government uses ICT to change information and services with citizens and business. There are a lot of examples of electronic services, government services. For example, electronic voting, electronic taxation, electronic health. Even if you would like to get an Australian passport, you can apply online and receive this passport not coming out from your home. Or for example, you can apply for visa to travel, for example, in Australia or outside Australia. So it's very convenient for you because it's saves the time. So electronic government in this case lead to reduction material use, avoid traveling, lead to office space reduction and storage space reduction. But the most positive effect of e-government, of course, it's dematerialization or material use reduction. So, how electronic government save material use reduction? It's simple, because carbon reduction benefits arise from avoiding paper use and paper production, which are huge energy consumers, because harvesting, transporting, and processing is, consume energy much. So let's move to the next slide, and I will demonstrate you example of saving of material, for instance, in particular paper. Here we will take a look at one particular service of government, it's e-taxation. According to European Commission report, one tax declaration estimated to weigh about 150 grams. So, if we look at this table, we can see that to produce and end of life for 150 gram of paper, we can save about 250 grams of carbon emission. It's impressive. But at the same time, we can calculate for that for 1 ton of paper, we saving more than 1.5 tons of carbon emission. Amazing. Of course, you can say, okay, we avoid using paper, using electronic service, but in this case, we will use computer, and computer consumes energy too. What is the benefit? Look at the next table. This calculation provided European Commission Directorate General Information Society, and this calculation provides for one use phase of computer for average desktop PC, and you can see that one use phase is equal to almost 17 grams. It's good if you compare this emission and this emission. It's very good result. This analysis clearly demonstrates us that significant reduction in carbon emission could be achieved through focusing government in electronic public services and dematerialization, that is, avoiding using material such as paper. The next point I would like to speak about today, the last point, is information communications on carbon footprint. One would think that ICT consumes this huge energy, so benefit is going on of using ICT. But International Telecommunication Union and Climate Change Organization calculated that only 1.75% of worth of total emissions are released by using opacity devices, and only 0.25% are released by production of these devices. So, if compared to other sectors, we see that emissions of carbon emission is pretty small, not huge. Okay, let me sum up. Using ICT solution like as mobile communication, video conferencing, electronic government, and other ICT solutions can lead to a more sustainable, lower carbon and more resource efficient future. So that's all what I would like to talk about you today, and I'm open for questions.
So on that last slide, can you just go back to that?
This one?
The carbon footprint.
Yeah. This one or
No, the one before.
Or
The carbon footprint.
this one? Yeah.
I was focusing on the top bit which you were explaining. I understood that the 1.75%, etc. And then you took the graph off, and I didn't really get a close look at it. So is that graph? You're talking about the emissions of carbon dioxide in the ICT sector compared to what other areas of industry or?
Yeah. It's compared with other sectors of economic of industry.
Okay.
So the 2% is the general carbon footprint of information and communication technology, including using of ICT device and production of this device.
And what's the y-axis? What's BT? CO2 emissions, BT, CO2.
It's a percent of carbon emission compared to total emission, world emission.
So if the ICT is right, it's 1.75.
It's a 2%.
Two.
2%.
Two, sorry,
2%. Yeah,
and
almost 30% with other sectors. You would say
what's the rest?
rest is a natural emission, you know,
Oh, okay.
produced by plants, trees, and so on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So we're only producing 30.
yeah, 30% for other at all, for other sectors at all.
Interesting. It's all those cows.
Yeah, you know, I had no idea before.
Sorry?
Before I had no idea that economy released only 30% of carbon emission, of total carbon emission. I was pretty sure that 100 carbon emission released by economy, industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Makes you wonder about the carbon tax.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Probably you can mention that in conclusion I mentioned about other solution. Have you any idea what is any solution can help reduce carbon emission? No?
No.
I have an example for you. It's a interesting, very interesting example. For example, it's a smart building. Smart building, when we can use ICT solution to reduce using light bulb, to use software